course, as we know, time moves on, and as we get to 2006, this refined a lot of our understanding of aquifers as well. And to this day, we have found that some wells in the island have come up with a different apparent aquifer than was mapped. So the 2006 Northern Island Hydrogeologic Investigation. First off, I'd like to acknowledge Jay here. Jay is with Aspect Consulting, and although he wasn't involved with this study directly, we just really wanted to thank you, Jay, for joining us for this. And I'd love for you to interrupt me at any time at this point. But a couple of things that was interesting to me about this study was that they found seawater intrusion and naturally occurring arsenic were identified as the principal water quality concerns in northern Lummi Island. And I think that's pretty clear to everyone who has wells here. They sampled 40 wells, and they did this in April and August. Just a note that the Department of Ecology usually considers this a medium to high risk area. And so as part of your well permit, chloride sample in April and August is usually required, if not best practice. So in this program, we're doing chloride samples in September, in case that wasn't done already in August. And part of this education is just to encourage people to test for chlorides on those 2 months on a regular basis and submit them through a lab so that they can be recorded by the Department of Ecology. Now, very interestingly, the chloride concentrations in excess of background levels they identified as 40 parts per million. And that would be like, say, normal, not to be concerned too much with seawater or saltwater intrusion. Those were, see if you can guess with me which areas these would be. Point Migley, Village Point and Lane Spit, the Northwest Coast, and they said in the area of the Willows Inn, sort of roughly in that area, and the East Shoreline area between Centerview and Lego Bay Road. And that actually was probably most of the wells that had high to medium concentrations were in that East Shoreline area. Now, just to make things more interesting, and Jay, jump in here if you can hear me. They said it was really ambiguous. They said no relationships were identified between chloride levels and well depths or completion elevations, as in how tall, the elevation of the well or how deep it was drilled, indicating that freshwater and seawater relationship is more complex than models generally developed for uniform aquifer systems. So just like our population here, we're a jumble, we're mixed up, and we're hard to define. So that means that there's no solid answers, no black and white answer on why certain wells might have a higher chloride level or possibly be indicating seawater intrusion than others. They said methodologies for limiting seawater intrusion on northern Lummi Island must be adaptive to area-specific circumstances. So we really locally need to identify if your well is coming in with possible seawater intrusion. That might be a very local event. Jay, do you have any comments about any of this?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much spot on, Isaac, from my interpretation of the report. As you mentioned, I wasn't involved in the study directly, but yeah, I think it ultimately really gets back to what you guys touched on earlier, and just the mix of sand and gravel aquifers and bedrock aquifers on the island, and the interaction between the two creates a pretty complex system where it's hard to predict where these kind of high chloride areas are going to be, or high chloride wells are going to be located. But the map that you're showing here gives a pretty good graphical illustration of where some of the higher concentrations were found, where the yellow and specifically the red dots on that map show areas of high chloride concentrations. You can see that a lot of the highest concentrations were near, closer to the coast closer to water than inland, which is one thing you would expect from for chloride for seawater intrusion. But again, it is a complex system.
Thanks, Jay. So, by the way, these maps that we're showing you in some of the insets, all of these studies are available to download, usually as a PDF. And you can find those at the Heritage Trust website, liht.org/watersafe. And that link will also be available on the final slide. But yeah, the WaterSafe page on Heritage Trust has links to all these, and you can look at a larger version of this map if you want to see some of these locations.